What's up, guys? So today I'm going to go ahead and redo my personal build. I'm going to get started on it tonight. Anyway, I don't know if I'll be able to get everything finished tonight or get everything up and running, but if not, I'll just continue recording tomorrow. But I've moved to the AMD R9 3950X as opposed to the Intel i9 9900K. Some people may ask why. It's not really faster for gaming, but it will be faster for video editing, and it's just as good in gaming at 4K. So there's no detriment, and I gain, I double up on my core and thread count. I also get access to PCI Express Gen 4, which, you may say is a big fat deal as far as like the Gen 4 NVMe drives. Linus Tech Tips just did a video here the other day that was discussing that and how it's really not a benefit. So yeah, true. In fact, I'm not even going to buy any Gen 4 drives for a while. I've got two Gen 3 drives. I don't really need to do that, but it does set me up for PCI Express 4.0 for GPU usage, which you figure the RTX 3000 series from NVIDIA will be out here sometime mid to later this year, and I guarantee those will be using 4.0. And then AMD is going to have their, RX 5950 XT video card coming out, and depending on how that reviews, maybe I'll do that instead of NVIDIA. I kind of doubt it, but we'll see how that goes. And if they're good, we already know that those are using, the Navi cards are using 4.0. So I can take advantage of it either way, and it's just a little bit forward looking. So without further ado, let's go ahead and look at our components. All right, so we've got our 3950X, 16 cores, 32 threads on a max boost of 4.7 gigahertz. I believe this thing has 72 megs of L2 cache. Fucking insane, man. That's gonna be awesome. I've got my some of the stuff is transplant from my previous system, so of course some of these things are already out of the box or whatever, but I've got 32 gigs of Corsair DDR4 3200 megahertz. This is their Dominator Platinum series. Maybe I should get faster memory to go with the Ryzen. It wasn't as important with the Intel, but I know that AMD chips really like fast memory, so we'll have to see how this goes. Maybe I'll have to try to get some 3600 megahertz or even a little bit faster than that, but it should be probably all right. We've got our Pioneer 2 terabyte Gen 3 NVMe drive. We've also got, I did a video on this here recently where I'd installed that Thermalright heatsink on it, which is still sitting here. But this new board has 3 heatsinks, so I don't need it for that anymore. I'll find some other use for it, or sell it to somebody or something. That's $10, so it's fine. This is a 1 terabyte Crucial NVMe drive, so that's for games and extra things like that. And then beneath that, the box that these are sitting on, it's a set of braided cable extensions, so I can have some nice looking cables in this build. We're going to try to make this very aesthetic as possible. I'm going to go for a gold and black theme, so all the lighting is going to be gold, and then all the hardware will be largely black. See, I got the Dominator Platinum, that's black. The motherboard from MSI is the MEG X570. Previously I was using the Z390 chipset. Here comes Kitty. He wants to help. Yes, I know. But as you can see on here, this is all kind of a black background with gold lettering. I wanted to go originally and do an all black build, with no lighting at all, and get away from RGB. But there's a board from MSI called the Unify, which is otherwise pretty much it looks very similar to this board, but it's all black and there's no gold lettering or anything like that on it. Everything is just pretty much blacked out. But I couldn't seem to get those boards. It's like they were always out of stock, or it was third-party sellers that were selling them, and they were overpriced, or it would take 3 weeks to get one. And so I went with this, which is basically the same price, same or possibly even a little bit better features. It's just that it has the gold lettering on it, which initially I was against, but now that I thought about it, I kind of do like the whole black and gold theme, so that's fine. So we got that. That's our new board. This is my 2080 Ti from Zotac, the amp MAXX, that I've got the Corsair H50 on. And here's the 120mm radiator. I am using push-pull on the fans. I just had to take one of them off to get this out of the other case. But so I'm going to be doing probably RGB fans on that. Not sure I'm going to put them in the new case yet, but we'll figure that out as we get to it. This is the Corsair H115i Pro RGB cooler. 280 millimeter. These are not RGB fans. That is one thing I don't have that won't be able to be lit up right now. I was going to order some, but it was $100 for a pair of 140 millimeter RGB fans, the magnetic levitation fans from Corsair. They're like 45 bucks a piece, and then they include one of the Lightning Node Pros. Altogether, it makes like $100. I think it was worth $100 just to add some lighting to them. I mean, I'll try to put them in a place in the case where you really won't see those fans anyway. The new case I got is effing huge. You guys are going to dig it, trust me. Here's my power supply. This is a very big power supply, very beefy, very heavy. This is the EVGA Supernova 1200 watt, and this is a platinum certified power supply. So very efficient, very nice. Been using, I think I got this one maybe a year ago. I had the gold edition before that, and actually the one I had previously was the 1300 watt. And I started having problems when I tried running those Vega 64 GPUs I was using for a little bit. And as it turned out, it had nothing to do with the power supply. It's just that you have to load balance those cards because AMD cards are really hungry on the amperage requirements. So, you know, ended up not being the power supply. But I give it to my boss and a computer that I sold to him. So there's nothing wrong with it. And now he's got that badass power supply. So this is it for the components internally. We're going to have the two NVMEs, 32 gigs of RAM. Got some nice cable extensions, new board, existing PSU, existing GPU, new processor, existing CPU cooler, but now we're going to mount it on the AM4 bracket instead of the 1151, I think is what the Z390 socket is. Got all my cables sitting over here. Some of these I will need, some of them I won't need. Like I don't need that much SATA power anymore because I'm using all NVMe drives. I don't use any SATA drives. The ones that I still have, I put one of them in a USB-C enclosure and have that outside the PC so I can swap it between a couple different systems. It's kind of handy because I put a lot of my video files in there, and then if I want to run it on one computer or another, I can just move it back and forth without having to try to take it out of the computer, so that's handy. And then, what else is it? And then I have a USB 3 Western Digital 4 terabyte Black Edition drive that I do more of the same with. So I've gotten all my SATA drives out of the system, but the case we've got is the Phanteks Evolv X. It is a full tower. It is huge. This one is all black, and it has some case lighting, which I'm going to make gold for the gold and black theme. But we're going to get this thing out of the box. This thing by itself is heavier than the last PC that I built. It is monstrous. So give me a second here. I'll get it out of the box and we'll have a look at it. But it is gigantic. So we've got this accessory kit, first of all, that comes with it, which is quite a sizable just accessory kit. It's got a big setup manual. Some Phanteks cases are kind of convoluted in how they're laid out, so we'll see how this goes. Okay, for RMA requests, please contact Phanteks. These are, I'm guessing from the pictures I've looked at. Okay, see, these are like some kind of a drive enclosure. Yeah, I think you have a big section in the back of the case where you can mount a bunch of SSDs if you so desire. I won't be using that more than likely, so I probably won't need it, but it comes with, it comes with a bunch of stuff. Looks like we've got some kind of screw kit, probably, with mounting hardware. Yeah, seems like the last Phanteks case I bought had something similar. So there's all of our different mounting screws. You got fan mounting screws, which is cool because I wasn't sure if I'd have enough of those or not. You get your standard screws for like connecting your motherboard and your hard drives and power supply and all that stuff. More of the same. Thumb screws. And like a different style again, but a lot of these are sort of similar for their usage. So all that stuff's in there. I don't know if the posts to mount the motherboard are already in the case itself or not. Looks like this has something else in it. I don't know what that's for. It's just like a flat plastic plate. So I'm not sure what that's designed for yet. Looks like every one of these things. That one's got nothing in it. And then this one's got stuff as well. So what have we got here? Like a case badge. It says Phanteks. Like they would just have already put that in the case, but whatever. Some kind of a rail. I'm not really sure what that's in there for. And some kind of thing. I don't know what that is or what that's for yet. So I guess I'll have to look at the manual and find out what some of these things are for. I don't even know if I need half this stuff. It may just be in there for specific case scenarios. Now, this thing is supposed to have vertical GPU mounting support, so I'm not sure where they've put that hardware. Maybe it's in the case itself. I still have to get it out of this foam and stuff. I just wanted to kind of give you guys an idea how effing large this thing is. And it's still got, you know, the foam on it and so forth. But they had it cardboarded in there and foamed in there. The box is over there. So it's not as big as it looked initially because of the size of the box. But I could feel the tempered glass and stuff in there. So give me a second. We'll look at this bad boy. So I had a quick look at the manual, and apparently this is something to do with mounting the GPU vertically. So you can see back here we've got a GPU vertical mount. But this case I think is really, really attractive looking. You can have your opinion, of course. I'm sure some of yours may differ, but we've got lovely tempered glass on both front and the back of the case. So you can actually see out the back of the case right now. Once I get the board and stuff, and they won't be able to, but that's kind of neat. And then the front has got this little panel here that can open up, and you get access to your input output. You get two USB 3s, USB-C, which is one reason I wanted this case, because I really like using that whenever I do these videos with my phone, which is a Galaxy 9S Plus currently. You know, most phones these days use USB-C, so I'll be able to hook it right up to the front and not have to run. Most USB-C cables are kind of short, so it's like if you try to reach around behind the computer or whatever, sometimes it's a bit of a hassle, so this will be nice. Get your headphones on, headphone and microphone jack, and it looks like, I don't know what these buttons are for right here, because, I mean, the power button's up here, so I'm not really sure what those are about. But they are some kind of button. I'll have to look into it in the manual and see what those are supposedly for. But there are two buttons in there. Those are mystery buttons. Supposedly, to open this up, like when they come in, when it's shipped, they lock the side panels so they don't go flapping around. But you can take this, hold on, this comes right out. There we go. And then you can get access to these screws here, like that. Okay, so you can see what I'm getting at, but there's 4 thumb screws that lock the front and the back panels in place so they don't go flailing around. You got like a dust cover. You got room in the front for what looks like a couple 140 millimeters or like 3 120 millimeters. They include a 140 millimeter on the back, but I'm going to be using that for probably, that's probably where this radiator will go, which is a 120, so that's fine, but they come with it. Since I'm trying to do like a darker look, white fans are a no-go for me, so I'm going to take most of these off anyway and replace them with the Corsair fans that I've got, but they are there. I think I'll probably put the radiator on top. See, we've actually got grates here for airflow, and I believe that this can come off. I don't want to rip on the thing. Oh yeah, I think there's these thumb screws in the back here, and we can get this off the top, and then I can show you what that looks like. So give me 1 second to take those off. And the camera isn't trying to focus with this shit, so I don't know how well this is going to show up. But apparently, you can actually mount this system is designed to hold two computers, which I think I remember reading something about that. But again, the camera is not focusing with the shit, so I apologize. But basically, there's a secondary I/O shield cover here. You can see it up here better than you can in that stupid manual. But you can mount a motherboard to the ceiling of the case, an ITX board. It'll fit up here, and so you can have a secondary PC up there for what? I don't know. But you can do that if you so desire. So that's pretty neat. I'm trying to figure out how to get the frickin' top of this thing off without damaging anything, because it seems like the instructions don't say how, and I've removed every screw that looks like it's related to it, and it's like it doesn't want to come off. So I don't want to break anything, obviously. Another thing that I think is kind of cheesy on their part is it says that, now I already had a riser card or cable to handle mounting the GPU vertically, but they don't include one with you or with it. And this bracket, which is supposed to be somehow part of mounting it vertically, you can see in the picture here, like the riser cable connects to this somehow. Again, this effing camera will not focus, so I apologize. I don't know why I have this problem. Oh, there you go. That's a little better, huh? I apparently manually focused it. So you get an idea there of like you can somehow mount their proprietary riser cable to this little piece of plastic, but otherwise I may or may not need it. It may be able to just be done with this instead, so you know, whatever. But that's kind of cheesy that they don't include the things that you need to do, you know, for this case. They don't include everything that you should really get with it, in my opinion. And now that that's focused better, you can see what I'm talking about, where you can mount an ITX board to the roof of the freaking case. That's pretty neat. But give me 1 second here. I'm gonna try to get this top of this stupid thing off so we can look at that. Okay, I figured it out. I don't know why the instruction manual doesn't spell this out, or at least I couldn't find it where it said how to do it, but you just pop it back, comes right off. So after you remove the thumb screws in the back, there's 2 screws in the front that you have to manually remove with like a screwdriver. Well, maybe I didn't need to remove those. Okay, never mind. Just take off the thumb screws in the back. There's like 2 that plug in right there. So up here, apparently, like I said, there's a mounting bracket that may be sold separately, that may come in the box. I don't see it anywhere, so that may be another thing that you have to buy separately if you want to do that. It's starting to look like this is all sold separately sort of stuff. That's sort of an annoyance, but whatever. So you have all kinds of different mounting points here for radiators of different sizes, and I'm of course going to have the 280 millimeter up there for the Corsair H115i Pro. But anywho, let's see if I can open this thing up. Yep, see, they're just on swivel doors. It's kind of neat. I'm gonna move this out of the way. Sorry, got one hand here pretty much, but they're on these swiveling doors, which is really nice. You can just open it up and work in it without even taking that off. I'm going to take it off so I don't damage it. I don't have to lay it on its back to put the motherboard in there. And to do that, you just lift the door up and it will come off here. There's like a little post in here and one down here, and you just take that off and you're good to go. As far as mounting the GPU vertically goes, I don't know. We'll have to see how much room I have, like, because you figure I may have to order theirs if I want to do that, because you figure like this is going to run over there and then it'll be down here, kind of smushed down into place, you know, and hard to say how that would work out. And then of course the GPU, well, I mean, you're going to lock it into place back here with a couple screws, so I guess time will tell how that all pans out. I don't know. Now in the back here you've got all these covers. I don't know why that one's out of place. There we go. Weird. But you can, I think you can put like 2.5-inch drives behind any of these that you want. So it's I don't know. I don't want to, again, I don't want to break anything. I don't want to do something in the wrong order and snap something off there. And I don't really see that they've got any of the posts on here for the motherboard either. I don't know if that comes with the board or if that comes with the case. I always forget, so maybe it comes with the board, but I thought that the case would include the little posts to mount your motherboard. Maybe I need to look in the box a little further. There might have been some in that, well, I didn't see any in the screw containing case, so I don't know, whatever. I did find out what these are for. So these are for RGB control of on the case, these 2 buttons here. So this one says M, I believe. Yeah, that's for the mode. So like if you want it to change to like rainbow or something like that, you just hit this until it cycles through the different mode options, and then this one controls the color. So if you're doing static colors or pulsating colors or something, but you want like just red or green or blue or whatever, you can cycle between the colors with that button. That's for. I think this is just like a resting point for your GPU if you're doing the dual GPU mounts, or the vertical mount rather. This is sort of okay. So I guess they have a couple of sets of screw points here. You can see you can kind of slide this from one to the next. Sorry, this is getting stuck on something, but depending on, I guess if you want your GPU further out or you want it further back, and then I think it just rests on that. But you hide your hard drive down in here, or not hard drive, sorry, your power supply down in here, mount it in the back there, and then you just route up the cables through here for what you need, or, you know, up around the top for like your CPU power and all that good stuff. And I bought that cable extension set, so we're going to play around with that. So give me 1 second here, and what I'll do is I'll get the motherboard out, we'll look at that, then we'll look at the cable extensions, and then I'll go ahead and just start putting everything together here without a whole lot more explanation. People watching this have probably done this before, and if you don't, if you have any questions, ask them in the comment section, and I'll try to go back and explain something if you didn't understand something I was doing. But this is pretty much just a build video, not like a major explanation of how everything works video. So give me 1 second, and I'll be right back. I got the motherboard out here. That's a pretty aesthetic motherboard. Got the little, freaking reflection. MEG Ace. This is called like their infinity window. My Z390 board had the same thing. Again, it's like a slightly different size. I think on the Z390 the window was a little bit bigger or something, I don't know, but this displays like different RGB patterns and so forth. But we've got 3 heat sinks included with this one for NVMe instead of just 1, which is nice. The previous one I had only had the 1. Got some kind of a large heat pipe coming from here, going all the way around to here to this side underneath there. Not sure what that exactly is for. And they give all these X570 boards have a fan over here cooling some kind of a South Bridge or chipset controller, I guess, whatever. But they're definitely have a lot of that. So we've got RGB 3-pin down here, a couple fan headers. Not sure what that one is for. This little connection right here. Not certain what that is. I can't read it. Let me get a little some kind of LED, it says. I don't know what that's for though. Next to that we've got USB, USB, USB 3, USB-C, which is nice because, like I said, this case that I got, the Phanteks case, does support that. They got a power and reset button in here. We've got a little overclocking dial. I've never played with those. I don't really know if those are any good or not. Another RGB header. Very nice that they've included a couple of those at least, so we're not so worried about that. We've got 1, 2, 3 PCI Express 16x slots. I don't know if they all run at 16x or if the bottom one might run at 4. Actually, I think both these could be 4x. I'd have to look at the motherboard manual, but you can kind of see inside the teeth stop there. And again, they stop there, but up here, they're across the whole thing. So these are probably 4x slots. And then these are both 1x slots. So I don't know why they would have... This is an SLI board. There's no way in hell that this should be only a 4x slot. I don't know. Maybe it needs less pins for the 4.0 or something like that. That's strange. I'll have to look at the motherboard manual to verify the bandwidth of these two ports down here, but whatever. Not that important for what we're doing right now. There are 4 DIMM slots. They've all got nice little kind of chromed out sorry, armor on them. Wish it was black rather than chrome. I say trying to retain mostly a black looking build, and actually I'm finding some of this is more of a silver tone to it, or at least a gray tone, as opposed to really being black and gold everywhere. Or if these had been gold, that'd look really pimp along with the gold lighting or lettering here, but that's okay. It's not too bad looking. And we've got another, it's hard to see from this angle, but there's all of our SATA ports. We've only got 4 on here. I'm not using any, so I don't care. We've got, actually not sure. Some of these are either. This might be a 4-pin RGB, I'm guessing, and some kind of maybe front port audio header, I think is what that probably is. And then we've got the motherboard, 24-pin, another fan, another fan, another fan. This is the Corsair RGB header, which is why I've been sticking with MSI boards. The Unify board that I was looking at had that also, and then my previous Z390 board had it, but I think MSI is the only company that does that. It lets you take the Corsair Lightning Pro, I think is what this is, Lightning Pro module, what the heck it's called, but this module right here, and it's got this lovely little connection on it, and you plug it into this board, right, meow. And when you do that, then MSI Mystic Light will control the fans as opposed to IQ controlling the fans if you so desire to do that. So the ability to have that is kind of nice, because most boards you've got to use like Corsair's IQ to control their fans, and then whatever's on the board is controlled by like Mystic Light or AuraSync or whatever. That's the only beef I have with RGB is it's like you always end up having to use 2 or 3 different software packages to control everything. It's kind of annoying. Another 4-pin RGB header up here for analog RGB if you're using that. I'm not using any analog RGB, so it doesn't matter to me. A couple more fan headers. One of them, that's the CPU fan, pump fan. So if you have a specific 4-pin or 3-pin coming off of your all-in-one water cooler, that pump fan header I think usually has a little bit more wattage or amperage or whatever it needs for that to get enough juice to run the pump a little bit more effectively. Got a pair of 8-pin CPU power connections, and that should be pretty much all the relevant headers and data and whatnot on here. Got a couple little stickers, or excuse me, not stickers, but like little protective coverings there. And then I guess we can look at the I/O shield here. And this is another board that I really like. The thing about these boards is they've just gone ahead and started connecting the I/O shield directly to the motherboard, so you don't have to have a separate I/O shield anymore, which is nice. But we've got flash BIOS button, so I'm not sure how that works exactly, but maybe it just boots you right into like the BIOS flashing utility without having to, like if you're having a problem or whatever, then that's pretty nice. Got a clear CMOS button right on it, so if you have some kind of system corruption that requires that you reset the BIOS back to factory defaults, you can just hit that button for like a couple seconds and it just resets it. That way, if you can't get into the BIOS normally, a lot of times you can hit that. Before, you used to have to reset some jumper pins on the motherboard. See, I think this is what combines with that button. You take like a USB thumb drive with the BIOS update on it, plug it into that, hit the button, and it may just flash it without even ever loading anything up. I'm not 100% certain, but I think that might be how that works, so that's pretty cool. USB, we've got, this is the old keyboard mouse serial connection. I think they still include these for like certain troubleshooting purposes, but it's getting to the point where I kind of wonder why they still do that, but whatever. A couple USB super speeds, USB-C, very nice. Another USB super speed. 2 LAN ports, and I believe one of these is 10 gigs on this board, which is nice. It's probably this one just because they've got, this is 2.5 G. So, I'm not sure what that means exactly. We've got our onboard audio, we've got a mic, we've got optical, got the usual speaker allotment for mics and 5.1 audio surround, should you want to stick to using your onboard audio. Anymore, I'm going to start using like HDMI, or I have a Sound Blaster Omni external USB card for like hooking up optical to other things. I think it does a better job than the onboard anyway. In the box, we've got driver disk, which probably nobody uses because you're going to go to the website and download more recent drivers. That's all right. We've got a thank you for choosing an MSI product. Register at MSI.com. Sometimes you'll get free stuff if you register. Like I've had things where you end up getting a free game or something where you didn't know that they had a promotion, so it doesn't hurt to go to their site and do that. This is, they always include, well, not always, but I was going to say, sometimes you often, or they include these SATA labeling stickers that allow you to write on there what this is connected to. But again, I'm not using any SATA devices, and honestly, it's like unless you have a boatload of them, you should be able to probably remember what's connected to what. But it's helpful. If you have a bunch of SATA drives, it's still useful. Okay, get that out of the way. This looks like a quick setup guide. If you're unfamiliar with how to build a PC, this would be useful, and you'd be able to kind of go through and quickly install the processor, put the CPU cooler on it, assuming yours came with a cooler. I don't think mine does. This is some kind of a sweepstakes. Shout out for MSI. Write a review and let us know. We'll reward you with a cool gift. Oh, that does look like a cool gift. Stuffed toy MSI dragon. Sweet. Nothing important on the back there. Manual. Nice big thick manual. Shows how to set everything up. Pretty cool. Maybe it'll mention, let me pause for a second. I'm going to see if I can figure out like what the speeds were on those PCI Express slots. Alright, so according to this, PCIe 1 is the main one. That's a 16X. And we've got an 8X and a 4X. So you could run SLI or Crossfire on that. Although, I don't think none of the new AMD cards actually support Crossfire anymore. They've pretty much gotten away from that. And I think NVIDIA will probably drop support for it before you know it too. So that's sort of a bummer. But that's pretty much what's going. I put all these things in this lovely MSI embroidered bag. Alright, got a case badge. I'm not going to use that because it really doesn't match my coloring scheme, but it's nice that they include things like that. Standard analog RGB cables, don't need. This is okay, so this is an RGB digital to, a lot of these kind of connections are used for like LED strips kind of thing. See, I don't know if you can see that well, but I probably won't need that specific cable, but it's nice that they include things like that in case you're going to do certain kinds of case lighting. This looks like a Corsair cable, in case you don't have one for your, that Thunder Pro thing I just showed you guys. It's like the same kind of cable, so they include another one of those. Got SATA cables, don't need, SATA cables don't need, but they did come with it. And this is the Wi-Fi module, so that's cool. It's got the 2 little antenna connections back here, like a mounting stand, and then the actual antenna itself. So if you don't have some alternate form of Wi-Fi, that comes with that. And then it includes M.2 screws, which you would use to mount. However, I'm going to need 2 of these because I'm going to be using 2 M.2 drives. So nice that they include those. So there you go. That's what we get with the motherboard. I guess let's look at these cable extensions real quick that I've got, and then we'll get on to setting this PC up pretty much. Well, then I'm going to take the Ryzen out of the box and see what else it comes with in there. I get a free copy of either Borderlands 3, which I don't care about, or The Outworlds, which unfortunately you have to get in the Epic Games Store, and I'm not a fan of that, but at least whatever. I mean, free's free, so I guess I can't complain too much. But I got an email code from Amazon when I bought that allows me to go to the AMD site and pick which one I want. So I'll probably go ahead and, like I said, get the Outer Worlds, and then I can play around with that a little bit. Give me a second here. Let's look at, I guess we'll look at the Ryzen next, and then we'll go ahead and look at the cable extensions. You guys want to see something stupid? So I was talking about this in the previous video I did where I was building out a PC there. But this is like when I had that 2700X out of the box, and I said that sometimes they don't give you anything else in the box. All right, so we've got the chip. We've got a little case badge. It says Ryzen 9, which is cool. Got a little manual here. Probably doesn't tell you a whole hell of a lot. Certificate of authenticity. Some kind of a little information card, whatever the hell. So, came in here, we got this like block of foam that it was sitting on. Well, that is what's in the box. It's a big ass block of foam. Actually, it's kind of a nice block of foam. I might need to find a use for that. I don't know. But I mean, like, you could have sent this. You could have sent this, put like a little piece of foam on each side of it, and that would have been sufficient. But they waste this whole freaking box. They use that big piece of foam for this tiny little chip. It's like when I was in the Army and they used to send you a screw in a box, in a bag, and another box, and another bag, another box, and another bag, and it's like 10 layers of shit around one screw to make sure it stayed protected. It's like, I think you got it. So, whatever. I think that kind of sounds funny. But give me a second here. We'll get these cable extensions and see what those look like. Alright, I got these out of the box. They're from a company called Clovertale. I think this whole kit was like 30 or 40 bucks. I can't remember which it was. But the only problem I'm noticing here is that I don't have enough to do everything. So I don't know why they set this up the way that they did, because I don't know of any boards that work this way. But okay, so like we've got, PCI Express 6 or 8 pin, so that's cool. We've got, hold on here, we've got the 24 pin for the motherboard, so that's fine. It's something you should have, of course. You got, here we go, second PCI Express for graphics card, again 6 or 8 pin, so you got that. Now these combs, which are nice, so you can kind of tie these off and make them neat. So that's sort of the point of those. Now here is an 8 pin CPU connection, but of course this board has 2 of those. And a lot of motherboards only have 1 of them, or they have like an 8 and a 6, so fair play. But why does this come with 2 6 pins, but not 2 8 pins? So I'm down 1 8 pin, and what I'll end up having to do is, I mean, I can still hook this up and get everything working, but one of these over here will be missing its braided counterpart. So what I'll have to do is order another kit, probably just to get an extra one. Maybe I can find someone that just sells that by itself or something. I'll look on Amazon when I get done building this thing, and I'll find hopefully something I can put in there quickly enough that'll just solve that problem. But that's sort of a bummer. That's all right, though. Like I said, it wasn't terribly expensive. If I got to order another kit, I'll find another use for additional cables. Especially if I eventually get 2 video cards, I'm going to need more PCI Express ones anyway. So, and the fact that, as I showed earlier, you can actually mount, the ITX motherboard on the top of this thing. Maybe someday I'll try to figure out how to put 2 computers in it. If I do that, I need more of these again. So, we have all these things out of the box, ready to rock. Our RAM is sitting there ready to go. We've got our 2 NVMe drives. Processor, we've got our retention screws for M.2 drives. Pretty much everything is ready to go and start installing goodies. So I'm going to go ahead and get on that. Stay tuned for the next step. So this is kind of nice. I got this on the dangerous thing on the edge of the table here, so I got to be careful. But basically, I should have taken this stupid back panel off and scooted this. I'll probably do that here in a second. But they've got this nice fan controller array back here. Like one of them probably plugs directly into, oh, I don't know. There's one connection off here. I'm guessing that, yeah, it's like it comes down here, and there's probably a SATA power connection or something where that gets all of its juice. But then you can connect all your fans up back here and keep your wiring pretty well covered. And then they give you all these Velcro zip ties to do cable management, so you don't got to really do a whole lot, or like you don't have to supply your own cable management anyway. And then there's like a door. Here, hold on, I get it. Like this plate comes across here, and it just fits on these little pins, just like the tempered glass fits on as doors on the outside. That's like an internal door that covers things up, and it has like these two little clamps here, and then there's another door here that blocks this bottom area where the power supply goes. So when you're done with everything and you've tied it up and got all your management done, you just close the door over it and you can't see any of it. So not only is it, give you a way to be very tidy, but on top of being tidy, nobody can see what it looks like because it's behind everything, and it's all behind a second set of doors. So that's pretty nice. But I got the front fans off, and like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and replace those with some of my Corsair RGB fans, and we'll get those all done. This, again, like another thing I can do back here is I can just stick this thing like in here or whatever the heck, because it's got like a 3M adhesive pad on the back of that. So I could stick that in there and then again close that door over it, and you won't see any of the RGB lighting, cabling, or any of that crap. It'll just all be nicely hidden and well managed. So very cool. All right, next up I'm going to go ahead and get the board, I think, into this thing, and we'll continue on from there.
Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.